This is a recording of this year's Virtual Residency Fair. We'd like to take the time to thank the programs that volunteered their time to present to this year's applicants. This year's PM&R Scholars Virtual Residency Fair is supported by PM&R Recap and Ultrasound Guidance. PM&R Recap is the leading resource for your physiatry board preparation, clinical preparation, audition rotations, and beyond. PM&R Recap offers 35 hours of review videos, hundreds of review questions, and oral board cases to help you become the best physiatrist that you can be. Head to pmnrrecap.com to learn more. Ultrasound Guidance is the innovative new online ultrasound learning platform that gives you instant access to expert instruction. With rapid scans and complete scans of every joint and peripheral nerve, Ultrasound Guidance is the perfect way to jumpstart your MSK ultrasound learning. Visit ultrasoundguidance.com to learn more.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Angela Williams. I'm a PGY4 here representing University of Toledo Physical Med and Rehab program. Can you all hear me and see the presentation?
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you. We will go. This is our lovely downtown skyline that you can see here. So we'll jump right in. Our program had the first graduating class in 1986, so we are a tried and true program. We now have 3 residents per class, so we have 9 in our cohort total. We are an advanced program starting with PGY2. Our faculty specializes in pretty much all major areas of rehabilitation, physical medicine, as you can see here. So we get a great patient population in the outpatient setting as well as inpatient setting. We do have close relationships with the University of Toledo Pain Management and Sports Medicine Fellowships as well. We get to rotate through those programs as residents, and so it gives good exposure early on to those subspecialties as well as exposure to the attendings that you may work with if you choose to do a fellowship. In terms of our sub-department of the Department of Orthopedics, our division of PM&R is led by Program Director Dr. Steve Farrell here. And then we have Dr. Wisher, Dr. Swieko, and Dr. Schneider. And it's just those 4, and they do a really good job with teaching, patient exposure, hands-on experience. They're always available to answer questions. So it's definitely one of the reasons I stayed on as a resident after graduating from med school from UT. Just wanted to share this with you guys as well. One of my classmates from medical school, Dr. Shannon here, who's now at Vanderbilt, published this new research article in the Purple Journal. And I just wanted to highlight that we're up there for medical school campuses producing the most PM&R residents. And I wanted to kind of highlight why I think that is just anecdotally, this is a direct quotation from the research article, that potential factors contributing to medical students pursuing PM&R included faculty and resident involvement with the medical students, PM&R exposure through curriculum or interest groups. Definitely held true for me, and I feel like we're still able to kind of create that culture of encouragement and kind of hands-on for students as well. And the attendings, like I said, they really take time to teach students, teach residents, and they really care about whoever comes through their rotation to teach as much as they can. So we'll toot our horn that way. Here's some pictures of our current residents. And recent grads here. We do have, I did some math for you guys, we have 60% about in the last 7, 8 years go into practice, and 40% go into fellowship. Some department-specific benefits that we have are an educational stipend of $500. Usually as PGY2, we spend that for either books or question banks or an elective conference. It is pre-tax, so usually we have Wendy, who's here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the top left photo left, I'm on the right in the black shirt, but she's in the purple, and she can just use the department credit card and purchase whatever you want on your behalf. So there's no tax taken out of that $500 for you. It is a one-time stipend. As PGY3, you get to go to the AAP conference, which is usually in the spring. The only caveat is you have to submit at least a case report in order to attend. It need not be approved for poster session, but you just need to show that you're putting forth some effort to be able to attend that conference. And then PGY4, you get to go to AAPM&R. You're also given, with no additional cost to you, board review course resources, and then an additional 5 days of educational time, which is usually what we call our board review week, in addition to all your PTO and sick time, which we'll get into on the next pages. Some general benefits being a University of Toledo resident, and we'll start with postgrad year 2 because we don't do year 1 with our PM&R specific program. So you get 4 weeks of time off, which is 20 customary working days. You don't have to count your weekends as days off. You can take them one at a time if you want. You can take them 2 weeks in a bunch if you want. Just have to, work with your co-residents on that. And most of us haven't had any problems with getting the time off that we request. There's no dictated time when you can or can't take time off for the most part. And then again, as postgrad year 3, sorry, that should be probably 4. You'll get that 1 week of that board review for us. And then your sick leave, you get 15 days with pay per contract year. And then if you're here for more than 1 year, you get FMLA available to you as well. You get 10 paid holidays per year because we are a state institution, so we get all those federal holidays. Our call system, we take home call, and we have attending support that are available at all hours of the day to field any kind of questions that you may have. I have never been made to feel bad about calling the attending even at like 1:30 in the morning. So that's really good support to have, especially as you're kind of spreading your wings on your own. You are first call as resident, so all pages will come to you. Our call is 5 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. the next day. We don't do 24 hours. We don't have post-call days because you take call from home, and very rarely do you ever have to come into the hospital on a weekday call. On a weekend call, it's about every 9th weekend. We have 9 residents, and we usually split those weekends fairly evenly. So about every 9th weekend, you'll be on call. That means you're on call 5 p.m. Friday to 7:30 a.m. Monday. And usually you'll have to come in on Sunday and Saturday and Sunday and round with the attending. You'll be in charge of our rehab hospital, which is about 35 beds. Weekday call is once per week as a PGY2, 2 times per month as a PGY3, and as needed as a PGY4. There are some exceptions and nuances that we don't have to get into right now, but that's basically how it goes. And then holiday call, when you're a PGY2, you're responsible for 1 major and 1 minor holiday. PGY3, just 1 minor holiday, and PGY4, no holiday call. The minor holidays would be MLK Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, and Veterans Day, and Juneteenth. And then major holidays would be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Resident wellness is something that we get to do twice yearly, usually once a semester, and we'll get the afternoon off from all clinical duties. It is a GME sanctioned event. It is sponsored by the department, so they pay for our outing, and it is protected time off. So you're excused from all clinical duties. You shouldn't be getting any pages at that time. It's a resident organized activity, so we basically get to pick what we want to do. Some activities that we've done are getting pizza and going to an arcade, getting ramen with a river cruise, which this photo is from, gourmet sandwiches and glass making, and a brew pub with pumpkin patch. Getting into our didactics and education, which again is like the reason that I decided to stay at University of Toledo. The in-services that we have on Mondays are more or less optional. It's just not protected time as of right now. This is when we'll get like industry sponsored reps, pharmaceutical reps come in and kind of show us orthotics and prosthetics or do Botox seminars with us. And so that'll be a smattering on Mondays throughout the year. In this photo with the cones is when we were doing an in-service with therapies. They'll do like high intensity gait training in services with us, or how to don and doff clothing if you were hemiplegic, and using devices and transfers from wheelchairs and things like that. The protected time education that we have is Tuesday board review, which is resident run. We review Cucarillo. We're supposed to read it before the session, and then there's a resident that's assigned to kind of come up with either an outline or board review question style so that we can go over the material and discuss it amongst each other. And then we have our formal lecture series on Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Usually it's a little bit shorter time than that. But this is where we'll have our grand rounds, journal club, guest lectures, resident or attending lectures. We usually do those in person until the winter time. And then usually in the winter time now we kind of go virtual. MSK lecture series is on Thursday. It's from 12 to 1 p.m. I'll get into that a little bit more because that is a really awesome series for us. And then on Fridays, we have board review questions with Dr. Farrell, our program director. And that's where he gets to kind of make up a Jeopardy game or a bingo game, and we'll get to wager points and, answer board review style questions and kind of have a little bit of friendly competition. Regarding the MSK series that I mentioned before, it's every Thursday. It's on a 6-month cycle. So we see every joint twice in one academic year. It's usually on a 3 to 4 week block, focusing on that particular joint. So the first week usually is a gross anatomy presentation by a resident, then clinical pathology and physical exam, usually by an attending. Then we do a third week, which is MSK ultrasound. You can see some photos here up at the top. We're scanning each other at each particular joint. And then on the fourth week, we will do sim lab, and with cadavers, we'll do actual practice injections under ultrasound guidance or fluoroscopic guidance. We definitely don't practice fluoroscopic injections on each other. These are some photos of our sim lab here that we get to go to. The cool thing is that our attendings are present for both the ultrasound session where we scan each other, and then for the sim lab, they're there for the entire hour, kind of overseeing and guiding us. So then don't just come and dash. Here's a basic breakdown of our rotations by year. The only thing that it will change for PGY3 is that the general orthopedics and sports orthopedics months have been combined into one. It used to be that UT had a more prominent sports orthopedics section of their department, but that has over the years kind of dissipated. So it kind of became 2 months of general orthopedics, and residents kind of brought it up to attendings that we think it would be just as beneficial kind of to do 1 month of general orthopedics, and they took that feedback into consideration and actually made that huge curriculum change. So instead of a sports orthopedics month, we're going to do an additional month of clinic, so for exposure to PM&R and all that. Here are some pictures of where we train. Everything's within like 15 to 20 minutes of each other. And pretty much 15 to 20 minutes of anywhere you could live in Toledo, really. Over here to the right is our Rehab Hospital of Northwest Ohio. It is not affiliated with University of Toledo. It's just like leasing the land from the campus. So it's a standalone rehab hospital. It is a private company, but they have an agreement that that we work there and we do our residency training there. It's a 40-bed hospital. Usually census is around 30, 35 due to hospital staffing. So your team is usually 14 maximum, usually around like 8 to 11. So that's where you'll do your inpatient. This is the University of Toledo outpatient orthopedic center. And then kind of in the basement here is the PT gym, and we're just right next to that. And then sometimes we'll go to ProMedica Toledo Hospital, and this is mostly just for the neurology rotation. We also go to the Toledo VA, where we do tons of MSK ultrasound guided injections for veterans, and we go to Regency Medical Campus, which is just another satellite outpatient office. Here's some goofy photos from the rehab hospital. Really great staff there. We enjoy working there. And we have a really beautiful gym. So a couple things about Toledo and the Glass City. It is on the western side of Lake Erie here. It's a large metropolitan area, but it's the 4th largest in Ohio, so it's not huge. Got tons of glass manufacturers. That's why it's nicknamed the Glass City. It's also nicknamed the Great Black Swamp because it was a very swampy area being on the western side of Lake Erie. Really affordable cost of living here and short commutes. And then we have all 4 seasons here, so you can enjoy the outdoors. We listed some things that we really enjoy doing, some of which include going to the Toledo Zoo. They have outdoor concerts in their amphitheater. They have really awesome animal enclosures, really active animals, beautiful aquarium. And then at Christmas time, they do Lights Before Christmas, and the GMA at University of Toledo usually offers tickets free of charge for you and your immediate family to attend that. So the zoo gets completely decked out with all these Christmas lights. They play Christmas music. They have tents with hot chocolate. Wow. And then Santa's there, and it's just a really fun time to go. The other thing is an amazing gem is this Toledo Art Museum. It is free to get in, and they have all these awesome visiting displays that will come in. They have Van Gogh that's always there, Monet, Picasso, and Frank Lloyd Wright. They also have the Peristyle, which is where the Toledo Symphony will play. And it's a really picturesque and beautiful place to be to listen to some wonderful music. So that's a really awesome place to be. And then the last thing is something that a ton of people highlight. It's the metro parks. It's ranked #1 large city park district in the United States. It consistently wins awards and grants for expansion and further development. And so we have 19 metro parks. Some of the expansions include this one here with the orange sunset with the Maumee River there. You can see this like boomerang thing. In the summertime, it's a roller rink ribbon. And then in the wintertime, they ice it over. And so it's a skating ribbon. They have these little cabanas that you can rent out and have little fires around the area. There's some walking trails along there. You can rent kayaks and kayak right downtown in that on the Maumee River. And then here in the bottom right, we have the Oak Openings Metro Park that has newly built rentable tree houses that you can actually camp in. So that is super duper cool. So these are our social media pages. More than welcome to follow us. That's my contact information there, Angela Williams 7 with that period in between the names. And then Wendy Goebel is our program coordinator. You can reach out to her if you have any other questions. I'm happy to check the chat and see if anybody has any questions at this point. Thank you so much for staying on, for your attention. And to my knowledge, there is not a step 2 score cutoff. I am not involved in that initial kind of filtering, so I can't give you an answer to that. I would say don't be self-limiting though. To my knowledge, we have not had an IMG in the last 10 years. Mentorship is informal, but we have 4 really involved attendings, and I have been able to kind of bounce ideas and questions off any one of them at any time. If it's after I'm rounding with a specific attending, or if it's before or after clinic that I'm working with a different attending, they're always there to answer questions. They really have never told me they don't have time at that, to answer my questions. So I feel very well supported. Without going into too much detail, I'm signing on with a great place. It's like my dream job. So I feel really supported. Jeffrey, I'm going to get to your question. Yes, so there's definitely, because we rotate with the sports medicine, there's always opportunities to get involved with pre-season physicals. There are local colleges and universities that are always asking for physicians, residents to volunteer and kind of do those sporting events to do the physicals. And then you can also do sign line coverage. You can get linked up with that really, really easily. And as a PGY too, if you wanted. And thank you. I think I got all the questions in the chat. Thank you for those. Feel free to send an email. Thanks again.